Morning everybody, another early start today in Jordan. I'm off to a place I wanted to see for many years. I'm really excited about it. I'm off to Petra and Wadi Rum, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've booked an actual tour for this one. A really great gentleman called Jafar. He's an ex-retired army colonel who does this for a living now, and it's been really helpful so far, telling me what we're going to experience during the next couple of days. So I'll do some quick filming on the way there, and I'll catch you up properly next when we get to Petra. So halfway at the moment to Petra, just doing a comfort break and get some breakfast and a coffee before we carry on the journey. I can show you around the store, but yeah, it looks a nice restaurant. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
My name is Omar. I'm from Jordan. Where are you from?
So, I'm Mike from England.
From England.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. You're welcome to Jordan and for our show.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It didn't take long for the scenery to change from the urban area of Amman to more desert-like scenery as we drove south towards Petra. And finally, we could see the area of Petra in the distance. Wadi Musa.
Wadi Musa.
Wadi Musa is the closest town to Petra itself. So really excited, finally arrived at Petra. A place I've been waiting to see for so many years. Our driver in our minibus for our group has organised a guide for us to take us to the Treasury, and we will make our own way around Petra after that. So I'll take you over and show you a visitor map. So Petra Visitor Centre. Need to get my Jordan Pass scanned. There's a map. That's the entry gate there. If you want to make it right the way up to the monastery, that's going to take you to between 3 to 4 hours to walk there and back. That's if you don't stop much on the way. Or you can just go up past the Treasury to the theatre and round here, and that finishes where the Great Temple is. That finishes the actual city of Petra. So you can just do that and come back, which will take you in total about 4 hours or so, if you want to stop and have pictures and things like that. Once you've got your pass, so if your Jordan Pass QR code scanned, you can pick up one of these leaflets I've got here, and inside there is a trials map and pictures of things you're going to see on your way and bits of information about what you're going to be seeing, so you can do it all on your own if you want to. So really excited. Let's get this trip to Petra underway. Just noticed the Indiana Jones mini market. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was filmed in Petra. It's one of my favourite films.
Thank you.
Yeah. Going to walk through now to a place where we're going to get our ticket stamped and the QR code sorted. So just had my Jordan Pass scanned. When they scan your Jordan Pass, you get a ticket, and then next kiosk you have to show the ticket with your passport. They don't ask for the passport all the time, but sometimes they do. And now we're in, and first thing we're going to do is walk to the Sikh. Petra was originally known to the Nabatean inhabitants as Rakhmu, but we know it by its Greek name of Petra. 2,000 years ago, Petra was a centre for Nabatean administration and trade, and silk from China, spices from South Asia, and pearls from India. It stretches over 50 square miles, and when the Nabateans were here, it housed approximately 30,000 people. You'll see shortly when we go into the Sikh, which is translated as the canyon, there are 35 miles of underground pipework, and you'll see part of where that pipework leads to. And an advanced hydraulic system brought water from springs to Petra for agriculture. And there was once even vineyards and orchards here in the Jordan Desert. It's also called the Rose City because of the colour of the sandstone for which it was carved. It's one of the new 7 wonders of the world and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I'm really pleased to say this is going to be my 5th modern wonder of the world I visited. I've been to Chichen Itza, Roman Colosseum, Taj Mahal, and the Great Wall of China. And hopefully I'm going to complete that with Machu Picchu and Christ the Redeemer next year. The Nabateans were one among several nomadic tribes that roamed the Arabian desert and moved with their herds to wherever they could find pasture and water, and Petra is referred to as the Nabatean city. The Greeks, Macedonians, Romans and Byzantines have also invaded and had an influence on Petra in history. In the 12th century, the Crusaders built a fortress but were eventually forced to abandon Petra. As a result, the location of Petra was lost until the 19th century. Excavations and discoveries are still being found in Petra to this day. So the guide was just saying that the Nabateans, who obviously built Petra, originated from Yemen, and they came across the Arabian Peninsula, now Saudi Arabia, about 500 BC, so about 2,500 years ago. And the holes that you can see dotted around the rock are actually ancient tombs. So we're heading now to the Sikh. So literally translated, it means shaft or canyon, and it's the main entrance to the ancient Nabatean city of Petra. It's a dim, narrow gorge, in some points no more than 3 metres or 10 foot wide, and winds its way approximately 1.2 kilometres or 3/4 of a mile, and ends at Petra's most probably famous site, I'm guessing, which is the Treasury. The Sikh was used as a Grand Canyon entrance into Petra and known as the Kingdom of the Crescent Moon in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade film. The walls that enclose the Sikh stand between 91 and 182 metres, or 299 and 597 feet in height, and a wide valley leading to the Sikh is known as the Baba Sikh, gateway to the Sikh. Canyon of the Crescent Moon. So as we enter into the canyon, you can see that channel running along there. That's how they used to filter water into the city. And this canyon, the guide was saying that it used to be underwater, used to be an ocean here, but this area is part of the Great Rift Valley and it's prone to earthquakes. So over the millions of years, obviously water evaporated, etc., and the canyon is what's left. It sounds really stupid, but it's quite emotional for me being here. So I've been waiting so long for this, and to actually be here and see it, I really am fortunate, and yeah, really excited as well. It's amazing as you walk along how the colour of the sandstone changes depending on the position of the sun and the part that you are within the Sikh itself. So mention about earthquakes, you can actually see the split, and both sides would fit together if the canyon came back together again. What a place, honestly. Incredible. To say this is 1.3 kilometres long, the canyon. There's just something around every corner. See, or hopefully you can see it on the video, but all the red and pink in the walls. So the limestone path here was laid by the Nabateans. Interestingly, the guide was saying that back when the Romans conquered this part of the world, they set up camps in Qais and Jerash and Amman, and I'll be posting videos of my visit to those places on another video. And the reason they set up camps there was to come and try and conquer the Nabatean people. The problem is they couldn't do that because there's only one way in and one way out of Petra, which was this canyon. So the way they got round it was they blockaded the end of the channel, if you like, canyon, and switched the trade route somewhere else. So basically the Nabateans had no way of income or surviving, and eventually had to succumb to the Romans. And then over time, the Nefertian people were absorbed into the Roman population and sort of disappeared. A couple of tips I'll share with you that our driver, Jafid, told us earlier. So if you are coming to Petra, and I would highly recommend it, don't use a horse or donkey ride from the visitor centre along the Sikh to the Treasury. He said it's highly dangerous and he would recommend people don't do that. He also said be careful of the guides that you use, because if you are hiring a guide for your tour of Petra, most of them will only take you to the Treasury and then say goodbye and then you're on your own. So it's up to you whether or not you want to pay for a guide or not. So we got a guide which was organised by the driver, and I have to say he's excellent, but he says you have to be very picky and choosy with the guides that you actually use. Main area of trade for Nefertians. You can see, hopefully you can see in the stone, that's the camel caravan leader. Hooves of the camels. You can see up there, that's the leg and stomach of the camels. So that was for the import coming into Petra, and hopefully you can see those bumps in the wall in front of me. That's the camels coming out, which is the export. So everything, as I mentioned before, in and out of Petra came down this road. And the guide was saying that on the caravan trains, with the trade they was doing from Asia, some of those camel trains were 1,000 camels in length across the desert. Must be an awesome sight. So we're actually approaching the Treasury. This was never an actual treasury. It was a tomb for a Nefertian king. Ancient Bedouin people thought that there were gold coins buried inside here, calling it a treasury, but it is in fact empty. So this is where I get really excited. I'm sorry to keep saying that, but this is where it happens, mainly. The Treasury. The Treasury, or Al Khazanah, stands approximately 40 metres high and was probably constructed in the 1st century BC.
Now the size of the sun is, you can see 4 eagles. 4 eagles have to cut the heads.
You can see them on the video, but those little squares along the side
Now from here you can see the main
is where the Nefertians had scaffolding to actually build the temple.
whole like
So a guide was saying that this ground is actually up to 6 metres higher than the actual city itself. Over the years there's various sediment and sandstorms, etc, etc. And you can see that the way it goes up. The actual city, bottom of the city, is actually up to 6 metres lower.
You want to ride the mule to the monastery? You ride. Donkey.
Down the end, I think you can see it in front. Get closer in a moment. I think that's the Roman amphitheatre that the Romans built. I decided to hike up to get an aerial view of the amphitheatre. So I'm just doing the hike. This is called the theatre view. Climbing up to see the amphitheatre, as it says on there. Through the cave to the theatre view. Right, hiking from down there through the cave to the theatre view. You can see when you get your Jordan pass, you can do the 3-day Petra visit included within the Jordan pass, because it's such a huge site. I'm only going to scratch the surface today, but there's so much to see here. I can understand why you might want to take the 3-day one to look at different things on different days. So as they've just come from, at the top, heading to the theatre. So the main theatre, Greco-Roman design, originated by the Nabateans. The theatre itself is carved into the side of the mountain at the foot of the high place of sacrifice. It is the only theatre in the world carved into rock, and it could accommodate approximately 4,000 spectators. I showed you the water channels when we first came in, the Seek, and this is what it would lead into, which would irrigate the whole of the city. So just come down from where that flag is in the distance, down to the theatre. You can probably take the hike along there. I didn't know it existed, but you obviously can. There's people small in the distance walking along that monument. Lots of souvenir stalls and restaurants dotted around, and also restrooms built into the rock there. Like I mentioned before, if you want to do the monastery, it is quite a long walk. The driver, as I said, was saying it will probably take, if you walk at a normal speed without stopping, 3 to 3.5 hours to get there and back, which is why a lot of people come into Jordan, have the 2 or 3 day pass to get to the monastery. If you're up for it, then you can do the hike. It's fairly flat until you get to the end, and it's 900 steps. So you're probably looking at somewhere 2/3 of the way, maybe, up that hill in front. But if you don't want to do the monastery, and as you've seen already on the video, there are still loads of things that you can see walking around. Another thing our guide was saying on the way here is if you do a group tour to Petra, if you go in and you want to travel around as a group of 4, they sometimes insist that you have a guide. So our group is 7 of us in the minibus. We've broken up into little groups, and it just makes it easier. We had a guide to the Treasury, and then he left us at the Treasury, and we can just go and do our own thing after that. When you move on from the Treasury, obviously it's paved all the way to the Treasury. It's the main, obviously, site you're going to see, and it leads to fairly deepish sand and the limestone pass that the Nabateans and Romans between them built and maintained. A little bit more difficult on the walking when you get past the Treasury. So we're now in the colonnaded street, which was an original Nabatean creation, later refurbished during the Roman occupation. It would have been one of the principal shopping streets of ancient Petra. Along the colonnaded street, as you come towards the end of the city area itself, we're now at the Great Temple Complex, which represents one of the major archaeological and architectural monuments of central Petra. It's estimated to cover an area of approximately 7,000 square metres, and is suggested it was built in the 1st century BC by the Nabateans. So if you want to do the monastery, and from here, it's about another hour and 20-minute walk. We're now walking towards Casa el Bint, which is the main and most important temple of Petra, dedicated to Dishara. It still stands approximately 23 metres high today, and the temple itself dates in the first half of the 1st century AD. Casa el Bint Temple, Petra's oldest, the most venerable temple complex, and originates from a local legend that tells of a pharaoh who, after hiding his treasure in the urn of the treasury, promised his daughter's hand in marriage to the engineer, capable of creating a system to supply water to the palace. Numerous water channels have been discovered near the site. And this really marks the end of the city. After here, it's just the remainder of Petra and the monastery, etc. You can actually explore. Time to make our way back now, but a couple of more stops to make along the way.
Take you back with the camel.
No, thank you, sir. Heading up to that tomb up there, which forms part of the Royal Tombs complex in Petra. that is the colonnaded street area we've just come from. Heading for Urn Tomb. Urn Tomb sits within the Royal Tombs complex in Petra. Its name is derived from the jar that crowns the pediment of the tomb. It's probably constructed around 70 AD, and the tomb is preceded by a deep courtyard with colonnades on two sides. High up in the facade there are three niches that open into small burial chambers. In 446 AD the tomb was adapted to serve as a Byzantine church. Wow, the colour of that stone. Amazing. It's only about a 10-minute hike up to the top here. Again, you've got amazing views. Petra. And that down there is the end of the actual city of Petra. You can then do the further hikes then to the monastery and explore the area in more detail. So that's 50 square kilometres. So you're never going to do it in half a day or a day anyway.
Almost.
There's the Louvre there.
Thought I'd finish the video back at the Treasury, which is the most iconic part of Petra. It's been an amazing visit and really exceeded all my expectations. Apologies if I got emotional and excited at the start of the video. I've been waiting so long to come and see this place and see it in the flesh. It was just amazing, and it certainly exceeded expectations. I would highly recommend if you've got a chance to come and see it. If you have any questions at all about Petra and visiting Petra, then please do ask in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you've got within 24 hours. And please do consider subscribing if you've enjoyed the content. We'll be posting other videos from my experiences in Amman, including a walk around Amman itself, visiting Qas in the north, Ajlan Castle, Jerash, which is the second most visited part of Jordan, and also hopefully one of the Crusader castles as well. So if those things interest you, then please do check those out once they're published. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.